the kind you wear a tie. Button up from 9 to 5. I tried that life but said goodbye. I'm not always polite, but I get the job done. Who says this world can never be fun? I'm simply unprofessional. Simply unprofessional. Yeah. Unprofessional. Yeah. Unprofessional.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Simply Unprofessional. I'm your host, Webby. Tonight we got Devin.
Hey, it's me. It's Devin. How's it going, everybody?
And we got Rob.
Hey, everybody, it's Rob.
And we got Donnie hanging out in the background, who only watched part of this movie, but we're going to fill him in throughout the rest of the episode.
Hi.
So this week, Devin, you recommended a movie last week for us to watch, and we just finished watching it. It's 2022's blockbuster hit, Smile.
Clearly, Webby liked the movie.
Was it a blockbuster? I don't think it was a blockbuster hit. I've never even heard of the movie. I can definitely see where you said it was a lot like that movie It Follows. Just instead of a supernatural STD, it was happiness killed people.
Well, trauma.
Happy trauma.
Yes, it was a box office success for sure.
All
On
right.
a budget of $17 million, it at a box office has $216 million.
Well, it's not bad.
So it made $199 million.
That's pretty good. Oh, now they're vacuuming upstairs. I love it. I will say the cast in this was pretty good. There were a couple notable faces. I couldn't tell you where some of them are from, but I don't have the IMDb pulled up in front of me anymore. One of them, one of the cop was Bart Allen from Smallville. We also had the fiance, which was A-Train from The Boys. There was Kumar, who was the, I guess, the boss / friend of the main character. And then I also recognized the inmate that she went and saw from something, but I don't remember what. Also, the therapist.
He's from Lost, wasn't he?
I've never seen Lost. So, and then the therapist lady, that one's nagging on the back of my brain. Like I know I've seen her in something recent. But yeah, the premise of this movie is there's this thing that people are seeing, or a person at a time is seeing, and it's slowly driving them crazy. It makes them see things. It shows up as people that they know, sometimes people that they don't know, with just these creepy smiles, very unnerving. It causes them to lose sleep, and then eventually kind of takes over them and causes them to commit suicide in front of somebody, and then that passes it on to the witness of that suicide. Now, there is another way to go about it, but it involves killing somebody else with a witness. Apparently, that's what the inmate had done. Now, I forget. Maybe you or Rob will remember better. The It Follows movie. Did they ever get rid of it? Or did it end in a similar fashion to this?
They just passed it on to more people, and they never, kind of didn't know if it would come back to them at some point.
Gotcha. All right. So Devin, what made you want to recommend this movie?
I saw it. And I kind of harkened back to, like I said, It Follows. I was like, okay, I was watching it. I was like, I didn't really expect a lot going into it. I was home. I think I was homesick one day, or just at home one day, and I was like, I didn't expect too much going into this. I was just like, I'll just watch it and see what's up. Kind of went in blind, and enjoyed it. Enjoyed it, and I kind of watched it again. So this is the third time I've watched it. I watched it again for more analytical side to like analyze the movie, make sure like I was picking up on a lot of the nuances of. One of my favorite nuances I do like about this movie is it is completely filmed from, even though we see her as like us, and so it's not filmed in first person, it's filmed more third person, but it's filmed third person from her perspective, from the main character's perspective. And that's kind of was cool to me. So it's filmed Rose. It's filmed from Rose's perspective. And you kind of know this because we don't see. You assume everyone, all these people that killed themselves on this thing, saw what she saw at the end of the movie. They saw their trauma become some type of twisted scenario. The spoiler alert, by the way. And then this monster, who ironically enough, which is why they played that song at the end of the movie, on set. The monster doesn't have an official name, but then on set they did refer to it as Lollipop. And the monster effectively would enter that person's body, take over, and then kill themselves, kill that person, and pass on that way. So that's kind of exactly what happened at the beginning of the movie, where you see the girl freaking out, and she's, freaking out, screaming, running around, and then she gets dead quiet. And then Rose looks back, and she kills herself.
Right.
So it's kind of cool that like all those people were having the same level of hallucination, and it's like kind of weird. Like if you were to like rewatch that movie, but then input that monster in all those other scenarios, it would be like a total different movie in a weird way. I do like that. I do like the fact that through my digging, I realized that all the smiles in this movie were natural. There was no CGI in any of the smiles in these movies.
Oh god, that makes it creepier. Some of those people.
That's exactly why the director did it. The studio wanted him to like add some CGI effect. He says, "No, I'm not doing it. I want to leave it the way it is because it adds to that more unsettling tone." And then I love the fact that like he added in people just smiling in the movie, so to even offset the viewer, just like hey, you're guys walking down the street, people are smiling. For whatever reason, okay, well, is this a sinister smile? Is this person smiling at me sinisterly? Am I having a hallucination, or is it just my DoorDash guy dropping off my food being nice to me?
Right.
And I think it adds that little bit of unsettledness. Another cool thing about it that I did like was the advertisement of the movies that I figured out. They paid the actors to go sit at like sporting events and walk behind like live newscasts and just stare at the camera smiling with like smile shirts on. So there's a couple of like baseball games where like they would pan over to this person just sitting in a crowd amongst like everybody acting like they're at a baseball game. There's just somebody sitting there with a smile shirt on, just smiling into the camera, unmoved. And I thought that was just like really kind of like guerrilla advertising and really kind of cool, but like also adds to like that unsettling theme of the film.
Yeah, I can see that. And honestly, until you brought it up, I didn't even consider or think about the fact that, like you said, it's kind of filmed in like a third person, and it's always from Rose's perspective. Like you never see any other cast member and what they're doing in the meantime. It's literally always Rose.
Yeah, like if there's a scene that we're seeing Rose is in that scene.
Right. So.
Yep.
So this is your third time seeing it, so obviously you liked it.
I did. I wouldn't say like I liked it to the point where I openly vastly recommend it to everybody and like, hey, this is like must watch. But it was definitely something. The first watch intrigued me enough where I wanted to like watch it from a more analytical point of view. So I went back and watched from like an analytical point of view.
Okay.
And then obviously I was watching it with you.
Well, I do have a follow-up question regarding that, but I'm going to hop over to Rob first. And Rob, what did you think of the movie?
I liked it. I mean, I really liked It Follows, and it's kind of similar. This one has more jump scares, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would not recommend this to you if you don't like jump scares.
Yeah, and yet you did. And yet you did. The one
Webby,
thing
I had
that
to get you at least
like.
once. I had to get you at least once recently. It's the holiday season. We usually do dumb shit during around Christmas anyway. And there was another movie I wanted to recommend instead of this. But it's you can watch it. It's out. I'm pretty sure somewhere we can have found it. But I wanted to watch that with Apple. So maybe if you could set up a time with Apple at some point next week, we can all watch that or something and do that
movie?
one.
What movie?
It's called Skinamarink.
Is this another
and
horror movie?
Well, it is, but the thing is this. What made me think of this movie and what made me think of watching with Apple was it is a feature film that is effectively analog horror. Like what she brought up about when we watched listened to, I can't think of the name right now, during the Halloween stream with the people. Yeah, I just can't think of the Halloween stream during the Halloween month. Where we will listen to not the back rooms. Fuck, what is it called? Where God damn it.
Listen,
Rob, help me out.
With all these horror things going on, you're gonna drive me to want to watch fucking something like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Hey, that's fine.
Ugh. It's a horror within a horror.
Rudolph.
Are you talking about the thing with the whatever face, the siren face or whatever?
No, not that. I'm talking about where the people were switching places.
The Mandela effect?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Mandela.
It's kind of like Skinamarink, kind of like that. Although I forgot because I did say that we were going to watch this during the month of December, and I'm kind of mad that we didn't. Even though we have one more Friday left, so we might do that instead. There is a horror movie, but it's not.
God damn it!
I wouldn't call it a horror movie. It's more of a thriller. I'm not going to lie to you, but it is one of my favorite thrillers, and it is a Christmas time based thriller because I love the twist in the movie. Better Watch Out. I do want to watch Better Watch Out. I've been trying to get us to watch that for a while. And I just haven't, like, every time it came up to recommend it, it was just like, I mean, it's an enjoyable movie. It's more of a thriller than it is a horror, and it fits the theme, but doesn't.
You know, I'm gonna throw out a movie out there that I don't know. I guess is technically horror or thriller. I don't even know what it would be classified as, but I'm gonna throw it out there because it's one that Devin had me watch years ago, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And I saw it pop up on a Facebook thing of mine, and it reminded me of the movie Doctor Sleep. Go watch that movie. It's real good.
Yeah, really good movie. So yeah, Better Watch Out. It is described as a comedy horror thriller. I would say it leans more heavily in order of thriller. It depends on what you want to view as horror, like honestly. But Better Watch Out. We need to watch that at some point. I think I really enjoyed that movie.
Well, I will say
thoroughly. That's a separate issue. We're not really on topic at this point.
As far as this movie, Kat, I don't think you're gonna like this movie. Not if you are any way like Rob is with dogs in movies. Because, spoiler, the cat dies.
Hey, look, you say that, but maybe she was just trying to the cat only died because the boy opened the box. Otherwise, it was just Schrodinger's box.
I mean, that's true. Cat could have been alive until he opened that box.
Exactly.
All right, so my follow-up question prior, we're going to go back to Devin on this one. Devin, which one did you like more, It Follows or Smile? And why?
I would say, I will say this. I would say I did enjoy, I think, It Follows more overall as a movie. But as weird as it is, I think this one's more rewatchable. than
Okay.
It Follows, but I do enjoy.
You enjoyed It Follows more, but this one has more replay value.
In my opinion, yes. I think the more you watch It Follows, the more, I don't say the more it loses, but the more it becomes less impactful.
Okay.
And I think this has more. You could like sit down and watch this a couple different times, and it still has some entertainment value in there with some of the jump scares and with some of the like different nuances and stuff in the movie.
Right. What about you, Rob? Which one did you like better, and why?
I think I liked It Follows better as well. Just because it was like more unique, I think. Because in this one it seemed more like the villain or whatever you want to call it is in your head and it makes you do things, whereas It Follows, like, even though people couldn't see the monster, they could still touch it and be affected by it, like the guy got thrown across the beach and stuff, whereas in this one it doesn't seem to be actually tangible. So I don't know, I just think the first that It Follows is a little more unique.
Gotcha.
How about you, Webby?
Oh man, I love all horror movies equally. No,
Yeah, I figured, but-
I'll answer. I don't know. I guess I kind of liked. Overall I liked It Follows more. This, not to bring a damper on anything, but like this movie touched upon a lot of, like, she was a therapist and she was seeing a therapist, and everybody thought, oh, these things that these people are talking about are just in their heads and they're having some sort of, psychotic break, or, they're losing touch with their mental stability. And it did make me feel like I had mentioned a couple times, like, it's becoming an ever growing fear of mine now, that not that I'm gonna be chased by like some sort of supernatural entity, but like if I ever truly did feel or see like something was a threat to me, that you guys just wouldn't believe me. You know what I mean? So like, the other one was just this, the other one I could like, being not a fan of a horror movie, I like to try to alleviate, aspects of the horror movie, with comedy in some fashion to make it less scary for myself. That's my justification. And like the way you pitched It Follows was just, oh, supernatural deadly STD. Okay, cool. I get behind that. That's fine. This is like, oh, your mental stability is going to kill you one day. And it's like, well, I feel that way. I truly do sometimes. Like, so it was hard for me to make light of many of the situations in this particular movie. I do feel like this one, obviously, because it was made in 2022, is far more, like, I feel like it's more modernized. Like like you said, it has better replay value. It's easier to watch, aesthetically, than It Follows. What year did It Follows come out?
2016, I think. It's just like funny, but
I mean, that's still
it
not
was just
that far back. But like, I don't know.
it's not. It just
This movie just
But-
but what maybe it was the cast or whatever, but like it does seem to have more replay value in my opinion.
Well, to give you an idea, I think It Follows was released in or 2014. It Follows had a $1.3 million budget and it boxed 23.3. So It Follows was effectively what you would consider kind of a low budget film festival movie.
Yeah.
So it didn't really have some of that blockbustery appeal, if that makes sense. This movie is still kind of a blockbustery movie, even though it's a low budget at $17 million. Lower budget movie, I should say, at $17 million. But it is still a studio funded blockbuster-esque movie that you can go, hey, okay,
Right.
It's that, yes, it didn't get a $50 million budget, it didn't get a $100 million budget, it didn't even get a $20 million budget. But I mean, it still got 15 times the budget of It Follows, and it showed,
Yeah.
It showed in that sense, but It Follows is still pretty solid. But I do completely actually understand your point of this, and I think I'm not giving this. I refuse to give this movie that much credit. Like, they went into that thinking about it, but it is kind of it worked out to be kind of a situation of like you said, relatable, where sometimes you feel like, even if it's not like necessarily your mental state, but just like life experiences that cause you issues. Sometimes it's one of those things where it's like, it's my experience, and I can share it with someone, and people can say they understand me, but they really don't. And you're not really going to understand me because you're not living it.
Right.
And it makes you kind of feel alone, and makes you feel useless at times. And even sometimes it makes you feel selfish. Because I'm sure, like when she was first happening to her, she was in denial, because she's a mental health therapist. She's a psychiatrist.
Right.
And she's probably in her head thinking, I can't be crazy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
she was trying to find all the medical
She was
justifications.
rationalizing it and saying,
exactly.
"Oh no, this is just an acute trauma based on a traumatic experience that I went through recently."
Right.
That's harkening back to previous childhood trauma and is making an attachment and is, causing me to lose. No, she's trying to rationalize this in her head, and it's not so much of that. It's just the fact of, but then she's kind of the doctor is feeling like the patient of, why won't you believe me? I'm telling you, I'm seeing things. I'm telling you, I'm going through this stuff. Why won't you believe me? I don't want your medication. I don't need to meet with this therapist. I don't want you showing up at my house randomly doing a wellness check. I'm fine. You just won't believe me.
Right.
And then the therapist asked her, how are you? And it's like, well, let's see. My therapist is showing up to my house randomly because she thinks I'm a danger to myself. My fiance thinks I'm crazy. And I may have traumatized my nephew for the rest of his life. And yeah, but it's like, nobody believes me on top of all of that. So yeah, how am I? How do you even answer that question? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. You know what gives this movie even like another layer of, I guess not depth, but like something else to think about and to consider is like, so everybody has their own, beliefs as far as like, do you believe in aliens? Do you believe in ghosts? Do you believe in supernatural things in general? And like society as a whole has kind of like, oh, if you believe in ghosts, then you're a nut job, that kind of thing. But like, no one can specifically give like hard evidence to either, whether they exist or not. It's personal experience will make you believe or not believe in these things. But like, say ghosts were real. And if you're being haunted by a ghost or whatever, and you turn around and you tell your friends or your coworkers or something like, "Hey, I'm haunted. Like there's a supernatural thing following me," they're just gonna lock you up. They're just gonna write you off as a nutcase and lock you away. And I mean that itself is kind of scary because, again, they might be real. Who knows?
Yeah. I was gonna say, I think it would have almost been at least just as interesting, if not maybe more, if it turned out that all of this was in her head. Like, she was actually having a psychotic break and none of it was real.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it definitely makes you think. I will say this movie made me think a lot more than It Follows, but again, I had a hard time finding any type of comedic justification for making this movie a little bit more lighthearted for myself. Which, I mean, grats on them for doing that. They went out, they set out to make a psychological thriller or a horror movie, and they succeeded. There were too many jump scares for my liking. And fucking hell, I'm gonna say this. One gripe I have with movies is, and me and Rob have talked about this at length before, is just how quiet the dialogue is. So then you have to turn it up to hear
I
what
think they
people
do
are
that
saying.
intentionally.
And then
So
the next thing
there's
is
two
there's a
parts to
jump
that.
scare that literally blows your fucking ear brains out, or your eardrums out, your ear brains.
Your ear brains, your
Yeah.
ear brains.
It blows your eardrums
There's
apart.
two parts to that. There's two parts to that. I watched a YouTube video on that extensively, and there's two parts to that. So one is actually like sound manipulation. They do that to make you kind of lean into the movie, like subconsciously, like you lean into the dialogue more. You're more focused on the sounds,
Right.
and you're trying to like focus in on what's being said, and all of a
But then
sudden
they
it's
fucking scream in your
jump
ear
scare.
right
It's a jump
afterwards.
scare, and it triggers that fear response. It's an artificially cheap way to do it. Also, another artificial cheap way to trigger a jump scare response is there's actually, like, scientifically, there are like musical tones that trigger a fear response.
I will say,
but like an
like
urgency
anxiety.
response.
Yeah, I will say this movie
Like
did very well.
more of an anxiety response, and they will play that music softly in the background of tense scenes to amplify that.
Yeah.
And that goes into that. And then the other part of that is that it's just they don't mix it correctly for home video. It's mixed for a theater where you have giant subwoofers and speakers all over the wall so you can hear something. You know what I mean? So it's two parts to that. But it's usually primarily it's the first one.
I will say this movie did a pretty good job with, even in the scenes where there wasn't a jump scare, they would have like not even necessarily music, just it wasn't even music though. It was just like rhythms or beats or sound effects just in the background that, like, as you're watching the scene, you feel your heart start to race a little bit faster and a little bit faster, and then it just all of a sudden, like, she'll open up a door and then the music will stop and there'll be nothing. And I don't know. It's that part of horror movies that I don't like. I don't like the feeling of being afraid. I don't like my heart racing. You know, those are what bother me the most. So, yeah. I mean, I get, like, some people actually enjoy that feeling, that adrenaline rush, you know, of your heart racing, and I don't know. I just, not something that I enjoy.
Right.
Side note, Rob, you're not my magical genie.
Oh, crap.
Yep. Sorry. I got one matching number. Rob was curious if he was my magical genie, so I asked him. I wished for the winning Powerball ticket, and he went out and bought me a Powerball ticket, and he was not a winner. So, oh well.
I forget what it was. You said something first, and I was like, "Oh, let's see if I'm a genie. Wish for that, and we'll see if it happens." And you were like, "If I was going to make a wish, I would wish to win the lottery." And I was like, "Okay, we'll wish for that."
Yep. So I have an oddball question now. I guess this is more directed at Devin, but all you guys can answer it if you want. Is your favorite movie genre horror thriller based? Or do you just like choosing these movies because it gets a reaction out of me?
No. So if I had to be completely honest, my favorite genre of movie probably is somewhere in the ballpark of like mystery thriller. I do love a good, like, my favorite like genre is like I love like slow burn movies, like Shutter Island, perfect example of a movie like that. Like movies like those movies are like my favorite type of movies that like will suck you in on a premise from the beginning, and then you kind of have like this slow burn mystery thriller element, but by proxy of that, yes, I do like horror. But like I said before, my favorite type of horror is more of a psychological horror thriller genre of horror, where again you kind of have like that slow burn type of horror where it's not on first watch, but at first glance, yeah, it's a horror movie or whatever. But then the deeper you dive, the more horror it becomes. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like the more you start thinking about everything, you're like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, that kind of thing. And it gets like the more you think, the worse it gets. Those kind of movies, really, for me, those are some of my favorite movies.
What about you, Rob?
I'm sorry, what was the question? I was reading something.
Your favorite type of movie genre, does it just happen to be horror or thriller, or do you generally just like recommending these movies to get a rise out of me?
I mean, I do enjoy horror movies. I mean, I enjoy all sorts of movies. I guess horror would be my top two. The other one being Disney musicals, I guess. I'm a strange mix of a person, okay?
Not to mention you're not a big movie person in general.
Yeah. I tend to like shows better than movies.
Because you can pause them or end them after an episode.
Well,
and yet you love Hamilton. How long was that fucking thing?
3 hours and 40-something minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it once. Doesn't mean I liked it. I laughed a lot, but I watched it just one night because we weren't doing anything. But and I'll watch movies. It's just I have to be in a mood to watch movies because they're long. You can't pause them. But there's another separate reason why. It's because TV shows, there's more to them. Because if it's a movie and it's just one movie, it's like, okay, you have to sit there for the whole time and then it's just done. Whereas with TV shows, especially if there's multiple seasons, there's a longer story and it feels better getting invested that amount of time because then you get more back from it, I guess.
That's true, but I also feel like there's more opportunity to be let down from a TV show than there is a movie. Like a movie, you go into a movie, if it's a great movie, it's a great movie, it's a great experience. You go into a TV show, they have a great first or second season, and then it bombs the rest of the way. You feel almost like robbed. Like, oh, well, the first season was really good, and the second season was really good, but then I feel like I'm invested now, so I want to finish watching this, but it's actively hurting me.
Well, that's true. It's easier to be like, okay, I'm just going to stop watching the show. Then if a movie is bad, you still usually tend to sit there till the end, and it's not like get halfway out of the theater and walk halfway through a movie. So
I mean, if you do walk out halfway through the movie, you can't get your money back. Usually, it's literally, I think, the halfway point is when they will refund you your money.
I've only ever walked out of one movie in a theater.
Same. It was the Avatar movie.
The only other movie I've only ever shut off a movie and refused to finish watching it one time.
Was it Oldboy?
No, I actually watched all of Oldboy, which is why I think I hate it so much. No, I walked out of in the theater. I walked out of The Hills Have Eyes, and the movie that I shut off at home and refused to finish was Hostel.
That movie is not great. People like that movie is not. It is. It's torture porn at its finest, but it has no story. Like Saw at least had a story. It was torture porn. It had a story, but Saw, unfortunately...
I liked the first Saw movie because it had a story. I fell off after that because then it just became, like what you said...
nonsense, and then it became them just trying to reconnect the dots to the other... I'm in the same boat. Like, the other Saw movies, I watch them because they're just, like, good, like, torture porny gore movies, but, like, I don't necessarily like the Saw franchise as a whole. The first Saw movie is solid.
I'm just not a big fan.
After that... I am and I'm not. It depends on the movie. If the gore's there for I'm gonna say a reason, but if the gore is, if a selling point of a movie is gore only, then I'm usually good. Unless I have to be like a specific mood for that type of movie. But usually it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah. Rob, have you ever walked out on a movie in a theater or shut one off mid-movie and refused to just watch it again, other than if a dog gets killed? Like, just because you started watching it and you're like, this is just a fucking stupid movie. You know?
Cabin Boy.
I loved Cabin Boy.
No, I hated it. I stopped it halfway
These
through.
pipes
never watched
are
it.
clean. God, that movie was dumb. I will say it was funny dumb to me.
Was it as dumb as Idiocracy?
Oh man, probably dumber. I don't know.
Idiocracy is a pretty fucking stupid movie.
Oh,
But yeah, I don't know. Those kind of movies don't appeal to me. I've never watched Dumb and Dumber. I didn't watch Beavis and Butthead, stuff like that.
No, Rob, I get that. Those movies appealed to me when I was like 13. Idiocracy was just one off. For me, like
it's
after
because
that,
I had
like,
never seen it that you guys wanted to watch it so much.
yeah, and but overall, like I'm not a big fan of like movies that are stupid on the premise of it's just stupid people being stupid.
I mean, that's fair. Like what about all the Jackass movies?
Yeah, like no, I don't. I've never liked Jackass as a whole. Let me think. Another movie that I like don't really care for like that. Like I guess if I watched it now, I could rewatch it now, but it would not be out of like entertainment. It would just be like it's on, it's background noise. Like Dude, Where's My Car?
Oh, I love that movie too.
Like it's a good movie. I could watch it, but it would be background noise for me at this point. I would never actively be like, I just gotta watch Dude, Where's My Car? It wouldn't happen.
Man, all these movies that we're talking about now, I have to go queue up and watch. All right, so you guys don't like dumb movies. Well, dumb movies for the sake of being dumb. I'm not into gore movies. I'm just not a big fan. Like Devin, have you seen Hostel or Rob? Have either of you?
I have.
Hostel?
I've seen both Hostels.
No, I don't. Those are also movies I don't enjoy.
So Devin, I don't know if I'm sure this happened pretty much really early in the movie, and I missed almost the entire movie. But essentially, in the first Hostel movie, where he's strapped to a chair, somebody was strapped to a chair, and they let him go, but after fucking cutting his Achilles tendon, so when he went to go leave, you could see the tendon split. I shut it off right there.
Yep. No,
I
that's
was like,
fair.
no, I'm done. That's enough with that movie for me.
Yeah, like I like horror movies where like the horror is something supernatural or otherworldly. I dislike horror movies where the horror is people just being shitty to one another because it's like, okay, that's just real life. What the fuck?
Right. And see, like the thing with like the first Saw movie, the thing that I think I actually liked about that movie was mainly the twist ending.
Mm.
You know, spoiler alert, it's been out fucking forever, so if you haven't seen it, go see it and shut this off. But, you know, I liked the fact that the guy in the bathroom with him pretty much the whole movie or whatever that was the guy, you know, if I remember.
Well, the dead guy.
Yeah.
The air quotes dead guy.
Yeah. And he just fucking laid there the entire movie. You know, I thought that was a unique twist to a movie for its
Absolutely.
time. So, yeah, I mean, otherwise, like, I don't know. The only horror movies I think I'd ever watch again would be like the Michael Myers movies. Just, I don't know. I root for him. It makes it easier for me, but I guess that would fall under like the supernatural-esque horror genre because he was more than just a guy, but I don't know. Doctor Sleep was a good movie. I don't.
It was.
All right. Well, we're 40 minutes in. Do you guys have anything else that you want to talk about or ask about the movie Smile?
No, I'm good.
Rab, do you have any questions for anybody else or anything that you want to add about this movie?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
The biggest thing I wanted to say was about how it would have been. I think it would have been cooler if she had just been having a mental breakdown. That like kind of a twist. Like, no, you're just crazy.
It would have made it even more real for everybody watching the movie.
Yeah.
All right, well, let me go through the line of questioning that we usually do when it comes to movies. Devin, what would you rate it on a scale from 1 to 10, and would you recommend it to viewers?
I would give it between a 7 and an 8, like a 7.5. And I would a solid 7. I would give it a 7. And would I recommend it? I'd say yes, unless you're like super adverse to jump scares.
Okay. Rob, what would you give it on a scale from 1 to 10, and would you recommend it?
I'd say I'd probably give it 7.5 to 8, somewhere around there. And yeah, I would recommend it. I think it was pretty good.
All right. I'm going to give it... shit. I'm going to give it a 6.5. I would recommend it to at least see one time. I mean, I think it's a good one and done type of movie. So, all right. Well, that was our vague review on the movie Smile. Where can they watch this, Devin?
It's actually on Paramount Plus right now. If you have Paramount, watch it on Paramount Plus, or if you have other avenues and means of watching movies, then I'm sure you can find it there.
Yeah.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Do we have a science corner this week? I feel like I was supposed to remind you of a science corner for this week, but I don't remember now.
Yeah, I think I remember telling you, hey, well, would you science corner remind me of this? But I can't for the life of me remember what it was.
Well, Rob, to be fair, if you could remember what it was, you wouldn't need him to remind you.
Yep.
It's true.
Yeah, he said I probably won't remember either. It's like, yeah, that's gonna happen, I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't remember. Man, I tried. All right, do you have anything else for Science Corner then?
I'm
going to take that as probably not.
trying to think of what.
And what he means by that, listeners, is he is frantically Googling stuff for current science stuff.
Yeah.
Devin, do we have a life advice with Devin this week?
You do. I have a very simple life advice with Devin this week. It is when you find someone who makes you smile, hold on to them because it only takes a smile to make a day better.
Except for this movie.
And then I found this cute little picture of that quote, but it was a slightly modified version of that quote. So,
well, slap it in the SU chat. It'll be
our
our visual. Even Donnie added to our visual aids for an audio podcast showing the picture of the patient that we meet smiling at the beginning of the movie.
Oh, that's a good question too. Who had the creepiest smile to you?
Oh shit! Oh, first off, I love that picture. I have that same exact picture that you just posted, Devin. But the meme says, "I can always make you smile."
Yeah.
Creepiest smile.
Mine for me, it's one person, and I have it in my head right now exactly who it is, and I hate it the most.
Man, that's a tough one.
I'll tell you mine if you want what you think.
Okay, so there was the first patient, which is that lady. Then there was Carl.
Oh, Carl.
And then there was the therapist. And then there was the mother at the end. And there was the guy on the video camera recording at the gas station who stabbed himself. and then there was hers.
I thought the first lady's was the creepiest.
Oh, no. I'm missing one. You know what? The one that I thought was the creepiest was the girl who smiled at the birthday party.
Mm.
Hers was creepy.
Yeah, that was true. Hers was pretty creepy. For me, it was the therapist. The therapist smile.
Oh, yeah, that
For me-
slow build of, like, awkward smile into, like, weird.
But yeah, like
Yeah.
it fucked with me.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh. I don't like that one. And then the way she so effortlessly walked over that couch, I was like, nah, I don't like that.
Yeah, and the couch didn't even, like, dude, I don't know. Last time I stood on the back of a couch, the couch always tips over.
I know
They
she
had
had
to have propped it.
But she wasn't
Yeah.
real. It was in her brain. Like she wasn't
Still.
really standing on the couch. So
What was she, Rob?
Yeah, where was she?
No.
Yeah.
in her brain.
Oh, your brain makes things awfully real sometimes.
Yep, not real enough to affect the physical world. That was the whole point of the. What? Never mind. But anyway,
Space
I don't
ice
remember what it
giants.
was. I don't remember what it was I was going to talk about, but there is another thing that I read that reminded me of something I read earlier. Was that they're thinking they might be able to bring back woolly mammoths because basically going by Jurassic Park standards, they think they can fill in the missing genetic information from woolly mammoth remains with African elephant remains and clone them.
You know what I say to that? Don't. Leave
Yeah, I
that
don't think they
shit
should.
alone.
I don't think they should either, but they
Because
apparently
if they successfully do that, where are they going to stop? We are going to have a Jurassic Park situation, and we're going to have dinosaurs running around again, and they're going to eat everybody. Okay?
Fuck it, let's do it.
No, the scientists should stop. For the world's smartest people, these people are fucking stupid. That's all I gotta say. I'm getting word from the SU lawyers. I need to shut the fuck up on this scenario. Cloning woolly mammoths. Yeah, okay. What are you gonna do? Why? Why do it though? I don't. I just don't get it. It's good. It's good for a movie. It's good for a book. It's not good in practice in real life.
I agree.
I don't know. I'm glad that any advancements that they make that are going to be like super bad are probably going to happen after I'm already dead. It's going to be future world's problem, not mine.
I read another thing too that as it was actually a Financial Times article about how they're starting to rethink retirement for the future because people born today are most likely to have an average lifespan of 130 years instead of 80.
Jesus.
I don't want to live for 130 years.
I don't want to live for 80.
I don't know if I'm going to make it to 80.
Oh, man. So what are they thinking about, pushing the retirement age back?
I didn't actually read the full article because I don't really care about retirement, but I was just interested in the part where they were like, yeah, with medical advancements and stuff, that the average age will be 130. But yeah, I mean, they're basically saying they'd have to like find a way to finance retirement into that, either by people working till they're 100 or figuring out something else.
No, see, what I think, leave retirement age the way it is, let people live longer throughout their retirement, and we should adopt what they do in, I think it's either Japan or China, where we essentially have, what is it, 3 or 4 day work weeks and 3-day weekends or something like that. They do some crazy schedule over there where you it's like almost half and half, but you also get the nap during the day. I'll have to pull up that article. It's probably clickbait, and I'm probably misremembering it all. But I'm a big fan of like a 3-day long day work week and then a 4-day weekend. So, like Donnie, let me ask you a question. Would you at your place of employment? We won't say.
I literally stepped away and heard you say my name. What?
Yeah, well, I'm going to ask you a question. At your place of employment, we won't say the name.
Okay.
Would you be happier if you did something like 3 13.5-hour shifts? So like 3 days working 13.5 hours each day and then having a 4-day weekend every week.
Well, seeing as I already work 5 10-hour days, yes.
Well,
I would like to do that.
See? And I think that would just, I mean, people, if they scheduled it right, I think
But with it being
morale
a
would be
physical
better.
place, it might not be great. I
Well,
don't know.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean,
I would do it. I would do it until I couldn't.
I think a lot of people would try, I think it would increase morale, and I don't know. Anyway, we're getting way off topic. We have life advice. We had life advice. We had Science Corner. Devin, where can people follow you on the internets?
You guys can find me on Twitter at DMP_Pookie. You can find me on Twitch at Mr. D3. And as always, you can find me on eBay looking for smiles.
Rob, where can people find you on the internets?
You can find me at Confessor_X on Twitter and at Twitch at twitch.tv/ConfessorX.
Donnie, do you want to say hi to the listeners?
Hey guys, you can find me at Jack's Forest Walker, all one word.
I don't even know why I do this.
I mean, so then you don't have to say it.
I guess so, but then I'm always going to say it anyway because it doesn't feel right if I don't. And as always, everybody, you guys can follow me on Twitter at Jack's Forest Walker, all one word, on Twitch at DM Webby, and on eBay at Smiling for Devin. And as always, thank you for listening. We love you, and fuck Booster Gold.
BJ?
FBG. He smiles in an awful lot of pictures. Maybe he should just, go watch this movie.